So I'm now getting fucking roaming charges.
Why? Why are you getting roaming charges?
Where are you roaming to? Where are you off to?
I'm just here. I'm just living in my home and I get roaming charges now because Voxy and Vodafone have decided, oh no, because we've had Brexit and it's an EU law that roaming charges do not need to apply. We don't need that anymore. So they start charging for roaming. I have to pay fucking 15 quid for 15 days so it's a pound a day or £2 a day if I get less to get all of the
Wi-Fi?
benefits of my plan with Voxy.
That's essentially like doubling the price, isn't it? Actually, no. If that's for 15 days, then it's tripling the price.
And that's like now just essentially cancelled my plan because there's nothing I can do with it right now because I'm just here. So I actually have to get a new phone number.
What I'm hearing is that you're not going on enough walks.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You're just here. Justify that price, Michelle. Justify it.
I can't. Okay.
When was the last time you left the house, Michelle?
I didn't realize this was going to turn into a personal attack. But
This is
you
an
know what?
intervention.
Do
We're
you
here
get
because we care for you.
Do you get your 10,000 steps a day?
I get a good couple thousand.
It's a start.
Yeah. House is very big. I have multiple floors. I got an elevator that goes all the way up and down.
Do you have one of those stair lifts, the chairs?
A stainless steel? No, I do not have a stainless steel.
Oh, that's disappointing.
We're not like physically disabled.
I'd have come round to visit if it was like solely for that chair.
I think they're quite scary.
What do
Well,
you
they're
mean?
ominous because it's like I'm gonna get you
No,
in
I
about 20 minutes.
was on one and like it was beeping the entire time I was going up. I was scared I was going to break it. I was like, something's going on. It was a very loud beeping. And it slowed down as I got
Wait.
to the top, and I thought, is it going to go back? Am I going to die?
Why did you get on it?
Oh no, it's fun. It was just there. Why do people climb mountains? Because it was there. Like, it was, no one was around. I thought, I'm going to get in it, I'm going
Except-
to see where it takes me.
Except if there was a seat up the mountain, you probably wouldn't do it because it'd take about 8 hours to even get halfway.
You could still say you climbed Mount Everest, or you like sat your way up. That still be an achievement. You still survived the lack of oxygen.
Like, I could probably be on the seat, I could have my laptop, and I could probably like watch, I don't know, all the Stranger Things whilst I'm going up Mount Everest. By probably the time I'm done, I've made at least 4 feet up, or I've choked to death on my own blood. What's the
We
worst?
could record a podcast
Yeah.
whilst we're doing it.
No, do.
This is actually just a Zoom background. I'm actually on a stair lift going up Everest as we speak.
Oh wow, I didn't know they installed that.
Yeah, recently actually.
Yeah.
It hasn't got roaming charges either. It's really good.
Fucking fuming. Like, why? There is no reason for it. It's literally only there because Brexit happened and now we're allowed to just pay for more shit.
Not
That's it.
to get political, but has there been a benefit to Brexit?
Doesn't it like remove some tariffs or something, some trade tariffs?
We haven't got trade.
Or something like, or it's made some sort of trade easier. I don't know, hasn't it?
We get shapes from Australia. That's it.
I like shapes. But do I like it enough to counteract all the shit that Brexit's caused?
Is it worth
It
the
was-
things I buy from China or Japan being worth more?
It was really interesting because I was up in Bristol seeing a mate last week, and they're all doing like proper business and like analytical degrees and everything. And I'm used to just hanging out with artists, and then like Brexit was brought up, and normally around artists we're like, we don't know too much about it. We're like, oh yeah, that gives off bad vibes. Like, I don't like this for like XYZ. And they were actually like crunching the numbers and going into like actual reasons as to like why it's awful, and like, I was like, wow, these people actually know things. I feel very intimidated.
Wow, this is why I went to art school.
Yeah, that's why I've got an art degree.
You're going to be a political correspondent? Who knows? I think that's all you're qualified to do. You can't even become a politician at one point. Because like, who the fuck are you going to side with if you're just going to look at politics? I'm sorry, who looks at politics and goes, oh yeah, I want to join a party?
Yeah, I think to be a politician to begin with and to like want that position of power to become like a president or a prime minister, you need like a bit of an ego to begin with.
A huge ego. A huge ego.
Like the kind of person that would normally go for that kind of thing isn't like your standard Joe, is it?
Anyway, I'm here to announce my my full support for the removal of Boris Johnson and the appointment of me as the new Prime Minister.
I'd vote for you.
Thank you, Zack.
You don't like Man of Steel, so I can't endorse your campaign.
Ah, yeah, that's actually
I
it.
just
No,
lost the vote.
that's the thing. No, vote no confidence. Stop the count.
Oh,
Stop the
shit.
count. Stop the count.
Oh, shit.
I,
Welcome to Urgent Rewrite.
you know the man who stormed the Capitol with like the bull horns, like
yeah.
dressed as a ram? That would be me for Michelle's campaign.
Oh my jeez.
Doesn't like Man of Steel. Storming the Capitol. Taking it
Oh
down.
my lord.
Do you even like Stuart Little, Michelle? Do you like Stuart Little?
Why did M. Night Shyamalan make that?
M. Night Shyamalan made Stuart Little.
1 and 2.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. He did.
What?
Yeah.
No, he can't have.
It's
That's
such
the
like
biggest twist.
Yeah, I know. It's such a weird fucking like start to a career, but you know what? Go off, I guess. Make your money. Where is the third one? That's all
No,
I'm
he
asking.
didn't. Rob Minkoff made it.
He's in it. Well, no, he definitely made it.
Rob Minkoff made it.
Did he produce it?
He was definitely part of it. You see him in the titles.
He wrote it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see
There
his
you go.
face. Writer.
So that's like the equivalent
Yeah.
of James Gunn doing Scooby-Doo.
Oh, but if you now think about it, there is like the big twist in the first Stuart Little, like where they reveal, oh, we're your real parents, but then they're not his parents, and then he has to go home by the boat, and then he has to like fight off the cats, and then Snowball saves him from that other cat.
You remember Stuart Little
What a
way
film.
too well.
I really do. I like that film a lot. That film did things for me as a kid. I like that film.
I don't want to know what things it did for me.
It's like someone said to me the other day, it was like, oh yeah, Michael J. Fox did a really good job in that role. I was like, it was Tobey Maguire who was the voice of Stuart Little.
Oh god, it
Was
was.
And I was like, no, it's Michael. They said it's Michael J. Fox, and I looked it up, and I was like, crap, it is. I thought it was like it's a weird Mandela effect in my brain. I was like, it had to have been Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire's in something though, right? Like he's a voice
Boss
of something.
Baby.
Yeah, he's a
But
Boss
I know
Baby.
he's in Boss Baby. I knew
But he's
that
not
by
in the
heart.
second one.
No.
He got replaced by what's his name, Scott Marsden,
Oh, come on.
I think.
It's because
I
he
don't
was,
know.
too busy doing Spider-Man.
Oh, I mean,
That was before they were even filming. He was just going around New
Yeah.
York dressed up.
That was it.
I don't want to say what was the worst move of his career, but Boss Baby 2 or Spider-Man, like...
I know, like,
Mm.
you know where the money is, right? Why would you go there?
No, but I mean, like, what do you want to do for your soul? What do you want to feel good about yourself for? Like, Boss Baby 2 said something. It did something. It meant a lot to a lot of people.
Boss
Spider-Man?
Baby 2 was back in business. Is it still Alec Baldwin?
I have
in
no
the, like,
fucking
TV
clue.
show and everything.
It's
There's a
still...
TV
Oh
show?
no, not in a TV show.
There's a Netflix show.
Not in a Netflix
Brilliant.
show.
Brilliant.
But in the actual film, I'm pretty sure it's still Alec Baldwin. Probably not anymore. But
Yeah,
know
probably
how,
not,
like-
yeah.
You know how like the new Space Jam was like an advertisement for the whole of Warner Brothers?
yeah.
I think Netflix should do something like that for like all their properties, where you can then get like Boss Baby going into the Upside Down.
They do that like often though, don't they? Like Geeked Week is on now, so they're just
Yeah.
announcing shit and they just like put people together.
Yeah, but it's not like a feature length advertisement, is
True.
it?
So you're saying halfway through you just want, like, Big Mouth to meet BoJack and Tiger King. Like, they all just meet and talk about their problems.
Why don't streaming services do like Nintendo Directs?
That'd be alright.
Where are they? I'm pitching that to Netflix next time I see them.
They could do that.
Yeah.
They could do that. It's just like, oh, here's the one more thing, and then just before they go, they drop like a Sandman trailer.
Oh, that trailer released. I
I'm
forgot
really
about
pumped
that.
for Sandman.
Oh,
That looks
I'm gonna
good.
have to watch
That feels like homework that's come to kick me like in the ass like 10 years later, because I've been meaning to like read that comic for like the better part of a decade and never have, and now the adaptation is finally here.
So much of the comic though.
Yeah.
So when I went to get into it, it was then like, oh yes, here's like a bajillion issues.
So you can buy
So-
like the whole thing, but it's 90 quid, and I'm like,
Oh my lord.
I was thinking about it the other day, like, do I invest? And I thought, no.
See, that was what was with watching The Boys recently, like, because the new season started. I went to just check, so like, I knew it was based on something, but I didn't know what. The fucking original run was like 4 years in like from 2008 to 2012, and then they just did another one like as this first season came out, and then that was it. There's not much of it, but like it's weird to think that so much of this show that is based on everything that happened in the US seems to just be based off of 4 comic series. 4 years of comic series.
It's like there's so much Invincible as well. Like,
Yeah,
have you seen the
seen
full
that.
compendium for
Yeah,
that? That's like,
that's a big old book. That's a
and
big
then
boy.
and then there was a thing of like, and then the first season's only touched like that much of the story. Yeah, there's just so much stuff out all the time now. There's
Yeah.
just
Too
it's
much
so
stuff.
overwhelming.
Honestly, it was so like annoying because I came into like the week like last week and I just had fucking Stranger Things to watch, plus what was the other thing? There's another thing that came out, and then The Boys at the end of the week, and I was like, well, this is just like this
Obi-Wan.
is so Obi-Wan. It's just so much content out right now that like, and Miss Marvel's coming soon.
God, is
And then
that-
also, so's the Groot show.
No, that's August.
That's soon.
It's not too far off.
2-3 months.
Jeez. And then we get Umbrella Academy back in 3 weeks,
Oh, yeah.
which
Done in 3 weeks. Oh,
is something like middle of June, so I'm assuming 3 weeks.
It's too much content.
Yeah. Plus the fact, like, none of it at the moment I'm, like, massively into either. Like, the overwhelming feeling I'm getting throughout all of it is, like, I haven't seen a thing, like, in a while where it's, well, at least from the TV side of things, where it's been like, yes, that's why I commit, that's what I've been waiting for. It's just been like,
that's been
Yeah.
Severance for me.
I need to see that.
It just, oh, like, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
too-
words fail it. Severance is so good.
There's just too much like streaming stuff that's like that it's hard to keep up and understand what's going on. Like I want to talk about Stranger Things here, but like you guys haven't watched all of it, or I've watched almost all of it, and
I've
it's
been
like
so busy.
hard to get there because everyone's busy because there's too much stuff. Like the only thing I think people know right now is Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
and then even then it's like just
I think it's, again, going back to that weekly model instead of binging, because it's so much easier to be like, oh, there's just one episode out, I can keep up with the conversation there. Or like, I know Obi-Wan put like 2 out at once or whatnot. But it's just like, Stranger Things was like, boof, and I know they've got the 2 more coming soon. But it was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to prioritise Obi-Wan, so I'm at least up to date on that, and I can like
Yeah.
stay a part of the conversation. And then The Boys then dropped, and I'm like trying to get through Stranger Things and also trying to, yeah, there's just...
when I saw a tweet saying if Stranger Things released them weekly, no one would be talking about Obi-Wan. Well, they'd be like a day, but everyone would be talking about Stranger
Yeah.
Things, like what's happening, why is Max almost dead, what's happening, and then like we're now like what 2 weeks away from it since it happened. I think people are talking about the villain, and that is it. No one actually is thinking about Stranger Things or what the story was doing, because it was doing quite a lot. But like, can't. I don't. I care about one bit of it right now.
It'd be weird. It'd be different if it came out in like January, when like I can't think of like a big show that was currently on at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much out at the minute where it's just kind of been swallowed up in conversation.
Yeah.
It would dominate right now if it was weekly. Just dominate.
Feels weird to me as well because it's like, I don't know, like at least compared to like when Series 3 came out, like that was a solid odyssey of a week where nothing could be spoken about other than that. Like it was everywhere with Season 3, and like it felt like that because Netflix was doing everything it could to make sure you were watching it. Whereas now I feel like it's not even trying to get me interested in a conversation. It's just like, oh yeah, here's the thing, you know what it is. The same with Disney Plus. Like that to me didn't feel like it was trying with Obi-Wan. Like a lot of them are just like,
Oh,
here it is. Like I haven't seen a lot at the moment where it's like so in your face you have to see it even if you're not interested in like being a part of the chat about it.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, that's released now. Oh, okay, I'll get on and watch that.
That was the thing with, I think, Obi-Wan in general, is that like Star Wars doesn't need to be like huge as a release thing because people will just watch it because it's like, oh shit, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like the best thing in the world, you're just gonna go watch it anyway.
Yeah.
This is my first Star Wars series on Disney Plus. Do they
Really?
always start on the thing of all the different helmets as the things go by? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was special for this one.
No, that's their Marvel ident.
I absolutely love it. I think it's really nice. I really like it.
It's very Lego Star Wars to me.
That's why I like it. That's like they're just calling to the child in me that like picking apart all of these like stupid looking spacesuits and putting them on different bodies and thinking, oh, I can give Princess Leia's head to Darth Vader's body.
Yeah.
This is They knew who they were milking that for.
What did everyone think of Obi-Wan then, I guess?
Oh.
I enjoyed it, but I didn't really feel anything. Like,
Yeah.
I just kind of like very passively watched it, and I was like trying to be invested. I was trying to be, but I don't know if it. Yeah, like it's good television, but it's still like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if I care, right? I think that's the biggest problem that I think Star Wars is trying to do right now, is it's trying to justify itself.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of Obi-Wan, as far as I can tell so far, is to try and show the connection that Leia and Obi-Wan have. But did you actually need to know that to understand the leap between 3 and 4?
But when it's
like,
already ingrained as one of the most famous lines in cinema, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope."
Yeah.
You don't need much more than that to be able to justify what's already there. Like,
it's so, and it's just they're trying to establish so much for no reason. Like the same with, I think the issue I have with Rogue One, like as much as it's a good film, it's a war story, and that works really well as a war story. But the fact is that they all die at the end. That's the whole point of it. They're going to die because we have to set up episode 4. They can't change anything fundamental because we have to set up episode 4. So then nothing actually matters in that story. Like, to anything ever. We're just watching it to watch these people die.
I'm excited for Andor more so than any of the other series at the minute, story-wise, because this one, I'm more invested in, like, Kenobi for the behind-the-scenes stuff of, like, Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are back.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. But then for Andor, I'm actually like, oh, okay, it's going to a place that's not just a desert planet. They're actually shooting in, like, real locations again. And it's the story itself that's actually, like, that street-level rebellion stuff.
Yeah.
That's the bit where it's like, okay, I'm really intrigued to see what that does.
That's fair. I spoke to Aiden about it, and he's not convinced with Andor at all. I think he's very, I kind of just want to see what happens in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, this...
I'm sort of like with Jake, because I very much, like, the post episode 3 and before episode 4 is, like, my favourite period of what Star Wars is. Like, I love, like, The Purge, and I kind of love just the seeing of, like, stuff of, like, right, here's how the Senate was, like, removed, here's how the Inquisitors were first sort of set up, here's, like, what the Empire moving into different planets was, and I don't think we get... I mean, we see it, but it's always in the external media, so I think... Like, even the beginnings of, like, right, this is what the Empire uniform begins to look like. That's interesting to me, and there's, like, not a lot of that in Kenobi. It's, like, it's a state of where it's, like, say if you've watched something like Rebels, all the pieces are already established to you, and they're not doing anything like that. Like, they should be setting the Inquisitors up as, like, this new thing, but it's not just... It's just like, oh, here's everything else, so I'd be more excited to see if Andor does some more stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, what I think is the biggest problem with how Disney go about this whole Star Wars model is we know how beloved the first 6 are. We know the sequels are like, iffy. People don't like them. People like them. There are some bits. I hate the last one, but you know what? We'll go off. Either way, all of it is trying to show a lot of exposition for no reason. Like, Boba Fett I didn't even want to watch. Like, I don't care enough about Boba Fett. He was a cool character in a couple scenes, and then we had a whole series on him, and the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was a single scene in Boba Fett where I was like, this is really cool. I want to see more of this from Star Wars. And it was, in episode 2 where it was like kind of like he's with the Sand People and they start doing like the tribal dance. And I was like, we've seen very little to nothing of something like this in Star Wars other than something like that festival scene in The Rise of Skywalker. And I was like, that's really cool. I've never seen anything like this. But it was nothing to do with like actual Boba Fett or like the mythos of that character. It was just, I've never seen Tusken Raiders do this before. That's interesting. Like,
I will say in Obi-Wan, I think it's brought a lot of the silliness of Star Wars back, because they have like these weird alien characters. The one where they're on like they're taking them as prisoners, or like, he's trying to transport them to a place, but he knows they're prisoners. Like that, he's just a fucking silly looking alien. That's really funny. It felt so Star Wars in that moment, and then we have just humans battling humans, or Jedi battling Jedi. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Moses Ingram is incredible as like the villain, but it's just
she's
like
really good.
It's just it's so depressing that it's just human versus human again. Like, we have that with The Mandalorian, we've had that with all of fucking Star Wars. I want to see like these alien creatures actually have an impact on the world.
Isn't the name of the next episode like The Birth of the Mandalorian or something?
Oh god, I hope not.
What, the next episode of Obi-Wan or something?
No.
Yeah, I swear I saw like the title of it was going to be something like that. I could be completely wrong. I swear I saw something like that.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney want to try and market as everything as like interconnected. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
But I did also hear that the original thing for this show was like what they then pitched to Lucasfilm. They were like, "That's what we're doing in the next series of Mando."
Oh, really? Wow.
You need to change what you're doing.
Oh, that's it.
And so then, So I don't know where they're going to take it, because you could see... I mean, you can kind of see it with his relationship with Leia being a bit like Grogu, but I mean, I've still not seen Mando, so I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's just the father and child relationship that every bit of media that wants to tell you that they are, protecting one another wants to do. Like, I haven't got a war on Last of Us, now we've got it in Mandalorian.
It's just the dadification of everything. Yeah. Like, if it wasn't Obi-Wan, you could tell the exact same story, but just make it a female 100%. Character. It's the mum of it. Like, the Jedi that was like saving the kids at the beginning of Order 66, and then it's just that's just her show now. Nothing changes.
That Order 66 moment was so cool.
Yeah,
that was a really cool moment.
Kids running through.
Yeah. Like, that felt like added to the prequels in a way that felt less exposition and more like, oh shit, this is actually a threat. Yeah. If that was in episode 3, you'd be like, holy fuck, okay. Yeah. But they just didn't show that, because I guess George Lucas had a batshit idea and they didn't go through with it.
I think there was like a friend said to me, like, it was and I kind of completely agreed. The thing of the whole essence of the show was like, the most joy and the most elation I got out of it was when they showed the montage previously of what happened in the prequels. And I was like, I think I'd rather just go and rewatch the prequels than watch this.
Would you consider this show either just like an installment in the Star Wars saga, or would you consider it a prequel or a sequel?
What do you mean?
Because technically it's very heavily a prequel to A New Hope, but I still see it as a sequel to the prequels, and I know it's like the bridge in the middle, but I think it's an interesting thing on where did you start. Where do you kind of see it in the Star Wars?
I have that bridge between 3 and 4 like heavily ingrained of like, they're just gonna put stuff here now. That's what they did with Rogue One, and that just sort of built that bridge. And I'm like, okay, so that's where Obi-Wan is now. That could be anything else. I guess you could. There's so much cool stuff you could do there that doesn't have to impact like the whole Jedi and Star Wars story.
Yeah.
But they don't. They try and heavily relate it to something that you know because they need to sell toys.
Yeah. I think it's like sort of like caught in between trying to be both, because it is trying to sell like the whole, oh, here's the great connection between Leia and Obi-Wan, but then there's also like, oh, here's the contention in my brain of I left Anakin for dead and now he's still alive, and it's trying to be both a sequel and prequel at the same time, and neither's crushing the other. It's just I don't think either's fully enough to hold up the whole show. Like it's both of them are like inferences that you could already make just by watching the fourth one.
It's like you know the big moment that they make of like Obi-Wan finding out that Anakin's still alive.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to make something more of that, where it was like maybe he's like come face to face with Vader in like an episode, and then it's then like the next episode later he finds out that, oh shit, that was Anakin.
Yeah.
Or something like that, because it's just kind of like he reacts to it and he's like, oh.
That's kind
okay,
of like,
now let's move on.
That's like a nitpick I have in general. Like, I don't like the idea of like anyone knows that Anakin is Darth Vader. Like, I feel like he should just be like this unknowable thing that they're all like, well, who the fuck is this guy that suddenly is running half the Empire and we don't know what it is? And it's like, I guess, yeah, it's an easy thing to justify. Like, oh yeah, where did this guy go? Now he's suddenly here. But it's, I kind of like when it's just in the previous, like the original trilogy mystique of it all, and it's just like, this is just a guy who just comes in and it's just slays things, and then we don't have a clue who he is. He's just the boss that we all nod to. But
I saw a tweet that like canonically currently Darth Vader's like 27, and it's like Vader feels like he should always be like eternally in his 40s.
Yeah.
Like you don't get that James Earl Jones voice.
I'm so happy that he is still the voice.
Although, isn't there a thing where they're using the AI
yeah,
they made for the Luke voice?
Oh yeah, they're still doing that with Luke, yeah. But this is
No,
James
but
Earl
I think
Jones.
I think
used
they're doing
that
it with
for
Vader
James
as
Earl
well.
Jones.
No, James
Yeah.
Earl Jones is credited. He did it.
But I think like they've altered bits of it. I think they've like James Earl Jones has delivered the lines, but then I think they've like done things to like manufacture it. Because for me, when I was listening to it, I was like, this is a step up from what it was in Rogue One. Like James
There
Earl
was
Jones
something
had
in
aged.
the credits
Yeah.
about it using the AI technology for something.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
But
It sounded weird in Mandalorian when they did do Luke. So the fact that
Yeah.
I didn't notice it in this, it's just, I think it's good.
I don't get why they can't just recast. Like, Alden Ehrenreich, one of the best parts about
Yeah.
Solo, like, it had its failings, but it was definitely not the recasts. Like,
That's
look
what
at
they
Donald
think it
Glover
is.
as well.
I think-
Incredible in that
yeah.
film.
I think the controversy of like regarding the CG characters is what they'd rather contend with than the controversy of, oh my god, I will never accept this person as Han Solo. I will never accept this person
Yeah.
as Luke Skywalker. It's easy for them just to ignore some tweets about, I don't like your CG, than a very vocal part of that awful bunch of people just screaming about the fact that they don't like it's a new human being.
Because they didn't, there was a lot of like backlash from that Han Solo. Like a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
just-
I remember that being very contentious and very like, oh yeah, I'm just never going to watch this.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous. Like, of course you're going to watch it. It's Star Wars. Fucking hell. It just released at such a weird time. I don't know why they released that the week of Infinity War. Do they really have that little fucking faith in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird as well because it went from Star Wars being like the event of the year, whereas like we're releasing this around Christmas, you are going to go and see this,
Yeah.
to then now it's just, oh, a new series is out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I understand them wanting to like still putting out new media and everything for it, but the way that it's gone from like the event to now just like, oh yeah, here's some more.
It's gone from you will definitely go and see this to I have to convince you. Like, oh, Ahsoka, you like Ahsoka, right? Oh yeah, first some anime and everyone likes that. Like, yeah, Visions is really good. Like, I guess people liked Rogue One. Like, it's no longer like in the state of it's just I will see this no matter what because it's Star Wars. It's I will maybe see this Star Wars.
Well, it's what really annoys me about people saying like, oh, I prefer it. It's better as a TV show or something. It's like, no, you don't. You like it because you remember 4, 5, and 6, and then you have a fond memory of the prequels. Like, that's it. You aren't watching it and going, oh, this is my favorite Star Wars. No one's gone to The Mandalorian and go, this is the best thing that Star Wars has ever done. Because it's just...
I've heard people say it's the best
Mandalorian.
Disney Star Wars, but I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I've, never heard anyone say this is, like, the quintessential Star Wars.
I would say the best... for me, the best Disney Star Wars is The Last Jedi, but I know that that's extremely contentious. Even though everyone loves Obi-Wan's, journey of becoming of losing his faith with the Jedi and not wanting to get killed to going to save Leia in the first episode, which is the exact same journey that Luke goes on in The Last Jedi.
Yeah. I think the sole thing where I've been like, yes, this was a slam dunk, I just didn't have a sole problem with it, was either Visions or the season of Clone Wars that they did, because that was a stellar final series for what that show was.
I've heard that they did deliver what the Clone Wars was, which is good because that was already a show that everyone liked anyway.
And it's like it's always not the smaller scale stuff or the less important stuff, but I think it is those little shows where it's like, this doesn't have to be the be all and end all. It's just got to like service a very specific kind of thing or a kind of vibe. Whereas like I think the others are all trying to be like, oh, this will be like what we put our new like half of the franchise on top of, whilst the Mandalorian carries the other half. I think they're looking for like what their second Mandalorian is, whereas they should just be focused on stuff like with Visions, to bring it up again, just like, oh, here's fun little stories to just remind why this universe is fun, instead of what's the next big tentpole thing that we hook everything off of.
Have either of you seen The Bad Batch?
No, I haven't. Desperate to watch it. Haven't watched it yet.
I just didn't know. I was going to ask if you knew if it was worth watching or not, because we have a guy at work that like is obsessed with like everything Star Wars, and so I can never get a straight answer out of him on like if it's worth watching, because he's just like yes, even when it's like horrendous. So
I really liked those characters in Clone Wars, so I assume it's a good show. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
fair enough. It's just, I think Star Wars didn't need to become Marvel.
Yeah,
it just didn't. Like,
it was never not going to be that.
I'm very happy that The Mandalorian is okay. Like, I enjoy it. It's a good show. It's not like it's changing Star Wars for the better. It's just Star Wars. But I want that event thing, and I think it's the worst thing they did in 9 is ending the war. Because it didn't need to end like how they did it.
They end the war in all of them, don't they?
Yeah.
But it's such a like in 3 it ends because the Empire won. In 6 it ends because like they sort of win because they blew up another Death Star and Vader's dead. But like obviously there's going to be repercussions because the Empire owns the whole of the universe, and so the First Order exists, which makes sense. But then this is just like, oh no, we've just wiped out everyone. There's genocide done.
Somehow, Palpatine returned.
Why? I can't keep going on this because it's going to make me lose my fucking mind. It astounds me
when you've got one of the most powerful tools for exposition and the most iconic tool for exposition, the Star Wars world crawl, and you don't use that to like exposit away why Palpatine is back. And instead you use Poe, just the worst written line I've seen in maybe 10 years. Just
well, they explain it in Fortnite.
Yes, that's the way. That's the way.
That is the way
Explain
forward.
it all in Fortnite. That is the way forward.
Except it explained it in Fortnite back when it came out, so you can't actually see that anymore. So,
did Palpatine get the #1 victory royale?
If Christopher Nolan supports Fortnite, then I don't think any of us can judge it at all.
I love the IMAX screen in the Fortnite universe. But what could have been interesting with like Rise of Skywalker is if like Palpatine was just a Force ghost or something like that, where it was like he was just tormenting them from beyond the grave, or like if he did like, and then if he was a Force ghost throughout most of it, and then at the end he starts to use some MacGuffin or something to start coming back, and then that's when you get like the zombie fingers and everything, and he's like using that as his plan to then come back, and you could use that as like heavy motivation of that is what he's trying to do.
Because that's kind of like what they wanted to try with Luke in Colin Trevorrow's episode 9 script. Like they were going to have him,
the Duel of Fates.
Yeah, they were going to have him be a Force ghost throughout it, and like on the one side he's training Rey, but then any interaction he would have with Kylo would be like taunting him. The fact of it's like, oh, look how far you've fallen, and they would kind of use him as like a ploy for both sides. So it's like, you could have done like that would have been such an interesting way to go, but no.
Yeah, I think I don't know all the things that would have happened in Duel of Fates as opposed to Rise of Skywalker, but I think at least it would have been an actual film, if that makes sense, instead of just like a checklist of, oh shit, we need to give Chewie a medal, and we need to like fix this, and we need to like retcon all this stuff. Oh, Snoke was a copy of clone.
Yeah. It's like when they like Poe that sees the stormtroopers get thrown up and start flying and says, yeah, they fly now. That's just was literally written in that day because it was to sell a toy.
Yeah.
And they've flown before.
Yeah. It was just literally like so depressing, and so like they didn't put any heart into it because they were so demotivated after everyone hated the Last Jedi for not giving them the Luke that they specifically wanted. Fucking write your own film. Guarantee it's worse.
Something that was actually exemplified in Obi-Wan as well is in Star Wars. Obviously, I know they get like the biggest production budgets and everything anyway, but like the sound design is always top notch. Like just listening to Kenobi and like the bass of like when they're using the Force and the sabers and everything, and it's just, I think it's just so well made.
I will say, I don't know what it is, and it might just be the way that they've mic'd him for both, for like the prequels and this, but Ewan McGregor sounds way too like present in it. Like there is no, he doesn't feel like he's in the scene every time he talks. It feels like he's narrating over it. That's how it sounds to me.
Oh, what? Like it's all ADR?
Yeah. It doesn't sound right. It happens in the prequels all the time. It's the one thing that really takes me out whenever when you see the scene of like the Anakin going in the lava. Like that sounds so dubbed, and this is also just really dubbed sometimes. I don't know why. It's especially apparent when they're in the city, just walking about, and it's like, oh, I just hear him really well, I guess.
At least it's at least it's slightly better than the lighting was in that episode 3. Like, well, we couldn't even see Vita. Right. I get that was a choice. I get like that's kind of a really cool idea on paper, but I think when you get to set and you see that it looks like that, you think, okay, this hasn't come out as we maybe thought it would, and you try something else. I can't believe that got through. Like, it was like we were watching the Battle of Winterfell again, Jake. Like, it was just, I couldn't see. Like, yes, the sabers helped, but good God, like, I get what they were trying to do, and I'm really not trying to shit on them, but I can't fathom how someone thought, like, someone didn't say on the day, okay, maybe we get like another version of this just in case.
Honestly, it gave me Doom flashbacks of like the film where like there is a whole scene where it's just pitch black because you can't see anything, but like it's supposed to be like ominous. You're supposed to see him because there's clearly movement in there, but it's just too dark to see anything.
I do love it when they use the lightsabers as like the light source.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
How would you two feel? Because obviously it's like they did the exact scan of the actor and everything. Would you ever want Cal to show up in live action outside of the games from like Jedi Fallen Order?
No, I think he's just the most nothing character.
Yeah.
I think the Fallen Order thing is awful. Like,
don't
get me started on that.
I will be honest, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so like if it makes sense, sure, go ahead. Like the thing that made me really excited about Star Wars was The Last Jedi, and now it's all gone and it's just exposition and exposition because they don't know what to do.
It feels like we're trapped in like a constant state of like so desperately looking for the little things of like, oh, this, which become what it is with Marvel. It's like we're so desperately looking for like the little glimmers of like this idea, this little thing, but then it's just in a sea of like having to contend with everything else, and you so desperately want to love it and you so desperately want to see that become the thing, but you know, because this is the biggest thing on the planet in a way, it will never ever get to be that again, and it just gets me progressively more and more tired.
Yeah, I think because we know
upset.
the next The next Star Wars thing is Taika Waititi's film. Well, the next film is Taika Waititi's
Yeah,
film.
the theatrical one. Yeah.
Which I'm excited for, but not because it's a Star Wars film, but because it's a Taika Waititi film. Like, that is it.
That means it must still be a little ways away, because obviously Thor's coming out in July.
Yeah.
It must be.
And
like,
I know
in a couple
a lot of the
years.
Marvel projects are like, they work right up till the deadline. And so I presume they've got a script and stuff already. I don't know, but
I assume it'll be around 2024 or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, make me hungry for Star Wars again.
Yeah. I mean, literally the only thing I think I'm like, other than some of what Andor is, like the only thing I'm excited for with that brand again is Visions, like when they try that again, just because that was so... Here are corners of this that have never ever been touched, and I never need to see touched again, because it was just so perfect in the way they tried it. And it didn't have to be the be-all and end-all, it was just like, oh yeah, if we screw up trying to make a cool Bohemian Rhapsody Tatooine episode, then we screw up. We don't ever have to try this again, but we're going to try it. And
Yeah.
I love that about it, but the rest of it doesn't seem to be allowed to do that, and that makes me considerably sad.
Yeah. I really adore Visions, because it brings mystery back to Star Wars, where it's like, here's just some fun things. We don't need to explain everything and like all these little spin-offs and explain why that rock is placed in there.
Yeah.
It was just, here's some fun stories and some fun things.
Yeah. I think that's the message to take away. Star Wars should just stop taking itself seriously.
Yeah.
I don't
think-
give a shit.
yeah.
I just want Star Wars to be weird and stupid and do this fun little thing with some Star Wars people like hitting people with swords or shooting people. Just make it fun, because Star Wars is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Gimme Luke milking more aliens, please.
Honestly,
That is what I ask.
the
That
best
is
part
all I
of
ask.
the best part of The Last Jedi, and I will die on that fucking hill.
Yeah.
It's like my first video essay years and years ago was on The Last Jedi, and I just had a comment on it the other day that was like, oh, so all it takes to make a good film is some practical effects. I'm like, well, if you actually listened to my point in the video, I'm talking about like the love of the craft and about like all these other things. And then it's also like the line in Kenobi where it's like, oh, I wish I was your father. Very clearly not saying I was in love with Padme, but very clearly like, I wish I could take this pain of you having to find out eventually who your like father is and all these other things away, and I wish that I could protect you in the sense of being your father. And you just... I think we need to teach media literacy more.
Media literacy is so dead.
Oh,
It hurts
100%.
how dead it is.
No one knows anything. It just should be. It's literally a fundamental skill in life. You should just learn how to read a fucking still of a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, just watch and have reading comprehension in visual media. That's it. Oh, it pissed me off.
Wasn't happy.
Anyway, that was Star Wars.
Yeah, good old Star Wars. May we never have to speak about Star Wars again.
Don't worry, Mandalorian's coming out soon.
Hello, dear faithful viewer or listener. If you are a listener, then this should hopefully not affect you too much. But if you are a viewer, then I would just like you to know that OBS, which is what we use to record ourselves and our audio, failed on me yet again. Thus meaning that my footage for the next half of this podcast has ceased to exist. Meaning that for the second half of this episode, I am to become a Matthew McConaughey behind the bookshelf type figure. I must watch on to a conversation that I can only partake in audibly. You shall not see me for the foreseeable. But, unfortunately for you, you can still hear me. Thank you. Now back to them in the studio.
State of Play happened.
Yeah, State of Play was fun.
State of
I was
Play,
very,
okay.
very happy at the end of that. That was a good night. That was Sony saying, I love Zack. This was Sony saying, we want Zack.
Have you bought a
That was
PS5 yet?
I'm very nearly on the edge. I have the money ready. I'm very, very nearly
I could
on the
tell.
edge.
I could tell. Like every time you see something from fucking PlayStation, I just see your Twitter light up of I love all of this.
Yeah, it's because like the last two have been like I enjoyed these. That one was like fucking like everything was like every announcement was like this is for Zach. Zach wants this. We want Zach to buy a PS5.
Was this Sony's big state of play for the summer, or was this just a little one?
Yeah, this was theirs.
Yeah, this is a big boy.
Okay.
This was their big one, and what's really sad is the only thing I cared about in that was the Horizon VR thing, which won't come to Steam, which really sucks.
Well, it won't
and
come to Steam for now.
What
maybe
about Stray?
wait for
You're
a
big on
couple
Stray,
years.
aren't you?
Stray's gonna look fun, but also Spider-Man's on PC, and I'm happy about that because now I get to play
That's
the
gonna be
Miles, the Miles, Miles DLC.
I
Miles.
promise you can play that on PS4. I promise you, it makes no difference.
I'm gonna play it either way. I'm excited.
Uh,
I need more. That Spider-Man game is so fucking good.
It's just fun.
Yeah, it's
Like
just a
it's
fun
like
game.
with Forza being an easy game to just go in and do whatever for 5 minutes while you've got a spare moment. It's same with like just boot up Spider-Man, swing around for a bit, stop a few crimes, bosh,
yeah.
get on with cooking dinner. It's just a good, quick stress reliever of like, okay, bomb. Now
Yeah.
let's get on with the day.
I'm happy that the age of the exclusive is slowly dying, very slowly dying, but slowly dying.
Yeah.
I've got my God of War on PC. I'm getting
Yeah.
Spider-Man on PC. I essentially could sell my PS4 now because I don't need it.
Yeah, to be honest, you're at a point.
Is
I was-
there a current PlayStation exclusive where you're like, this will never come out on PC? Because I thought Spider-Man would be the one to
Oh, I
stay
thought that
on.
was it. Yeah. I don't have any others.
So
Knack?
do you reckon everything now...
I think Knack is kind of stuck there, actually.
What about Ghost of Tsushima? Is that on PC yet?
Oh, I assume it will be. It's
It probably will be eventually. I just know it's not on
Feels
there
like,
yet.
yeah, it feels
Wasn't
like it
just-
definitely would be.
Wasn't
Made
it
by
Bethesda?
Gorilla.
Oh, I thought it was Bethesda.
No, they didn't make it. It was made by Gorilla. It's by the guys who
Yeah.
did Infamous.
I thought that's Sucker Punch.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, Sucker Punch. Gorilla's.
Yeah, Gorilla's-
Horizon.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sucker
Yeah,
Punch
I'm
have
going
got a lot of PlayStation exclusive stuff, so probably they'll stay there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they're first party, aren't they?
that depends
Yeah.
if Infamous eventually makes the leap. I think
Well,
Infamous
if
will.
they do another one or not, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
rumors they're going to. It's rumors.
I wish they
Like-
would. I was actually really fun the one that was on PS4.
I
What,
started
Second
Second Son fairly recently, and it felt like I'd missed a whole chunk. Whereas, like, a whole
Yeah.
very, like, scripted opening sequence, and then just when it chucks you out into the open world, it's like, oh, okay, I'm here now.
Yeah.
It felt
Yeah.
like it missed, like, a story beat before it did that.
That was because it was in the age of everything needs to be open world now, which
Yeah.
Infamous already was, and I don't know why they just decided to forget how to do it.
I mean, launch title. Not launch title, but a
It was
near
launched
launch title. No, it came out in 20. It came out a little bit later. Promise you.
14, wasn't it?
2014 it came out.
Is that
So
not
it's
when
like,
the
it was on the
PS4
cusp
came
of the launch. No, it wasn't.
I
But it
really
was-
like the turning the controller
Yeah.
on the side, doing the graffiti.
It's one of the very few times they've done something interesting with that controller, other than something like Astro's Playroom.
Yeah,
But no,
Astro's
it's like-
Playroom's the only place they will play with the
Yeah.
stuff because no one wants to open up Call of Duty and just turn it sideways to.
But I mean, I mean, as much as it was for me, like I got my Resident Evil, I was quite shocked that like this was their big show and we got nothing on like, just oh yeah, God of War is still coming, or like I don't know what else there is, like even some more Horizon
had a
DLC.
Gameplay
whatever.
trailer for Ragnarok yet.
There was chunks of little bits of gameplay in the last one,
We have.
like little
Just-
little
is that-
pieces.
Is that still supposed to be this holiday?
Yes.
It won't
Yeah.
And
be.
surely they're going to do like a deep dive on it where they're just going to release like a 40-minute video.
Oh,
where it's
yeah.
like,
Because they
I
did it
think it
with.
was-
here's
here,
why
though.
you need to
Because they
play.
did that like 15-minute one for the Hogwarts game.
Oh yeah, they did,
Just
didn't they? Yeah, I
randomly. So
forget.
they actually might.
Oh, they're in the business of doing that now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they did that for Gran Turismo as well.
Yeah, they're just gonna do
Yeah.
that. That sucks. Cause that was so. I'm so excited for the fucking God of War game. That's actually
Yeah.
like the only reasons I might buy PS5.
As much as I know the developer of Days Gone will hate me, I rarely buy games full price because I'm just not in a financial position to do that. And so I think that Ragnarok is the one where I'm so hyped for it, where I think, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna save up my pennies. I'm gonna
I think
I'm gonna
this is
go. I'm gonna do that.
this is the time where I've realized why people were excited for God of War
Yeah.
2017, because like I remember that getting announced and me going, they're doing God of War again, and
Oh,
not giving a shit, and
I
then
was like, yeah, God of War again.
I saw the
Beautiful.
10 out of 10s, and I just was like, oh, this is the best game ever made. Okay,
Mm.
let me
I was
play
just,
that.
it was especially in that time as well where it was like, why have we still got Nathan Drake and Kratos? And then they were like, okay, here's why. And
Yeah.
then they were like, say farewell to Drake, and then like, here's why Kratos is like still around. So I'm going
Yeah.
through the first God of War on Vita at the minute. It's
It's
so
good, isn't it?
good.
It's
It's
really good.
so charming.
I
Yeah.
mean, let me know when you're playing free because I just want to get like your reactions or some of the points in that. Just I need to just like hear you just screaming as you play it. That's a
I
one of those
think you're
beautiful
the.
experiences.
I would like to say I think you're the only person who currently plays on a Vita right now.
And
You're the
I would be
only
if I
one
could
in
be.
the
If
world.
I had a Vita, I'd be playing a Vita. I'd play some good. There's some good games on the Vita.
Oh no, there are good
I'm
games on it.
Yeah,
Just
I'd
no,
play it.
everyone's just left theirs to collect dust.
I'm the avid defender of the Vita and the Wii U. They're my two.
Mm.
I remember once it was like I think IGN put up a thing of like the highest selling consoles on Twitter, and I replied like, "No Wii U." And then I just got so much shit for it. Like, well, obviously it was really poor selling. I'm like, well,
No, we use.
do you what do you
Just
think
saw
I'm
a
trying to
lot.
say? It's irony, people. It's irony. Media literacy.
Yo,
That
they
is what
Yeah.
should
we need
teach that
to.
in schools.
Resident Evil 4 though, I was like, this is everything I need and want and more. I don't like Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, but I really like the look of this one because it looks like all the stuff they were putting in the original concept for that game is now going to finally see the light of day. Like it looks like it's going to be an actual horror game again rather than the action game that Resident Evil 4 became and took the series down. Like it looks so goddamn good. Like
Yeah. I
Isn't it the most ported game, or is it up there as one of the most ported games?
it's one of the most ported games. It's not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most. It's
That's
certainly
what I was like really confused about, because it felt like the way that everyone reacted to Resident Evil 4 is like, oh my god, we haven't played this in ages. It's like I think it got released like 3 years ago.
yeah, but it's like for certain people, it's like I think there's the whole yes of we haven't played this in ages because it feels like we haven't played it in ages. Like we haven't like I know we've all played it repeatedly on the consoles, but it's not like we've had like Resident Evil 4 experience like feel new again. Or at least since that guy did the beautiful HD
Well,
project. But
Did you not?
again, it was in VR. Like that's a whole different way to experience Resident Evil
yeah,
4.
it's another one. It's close. Just
Did you not play it on the iPhone 4 when it came out on iOS?
I should actually it probably did, right? It must have.
it
At
came
this
out
point,
on. Oh, go and Google like I think there's like a Serbian port of it, and God, it is beautiful hellfire. It is. It shouldn't exist, and it looks like it's in pain, but it's beautiful. Oh,
oh,
but no, I was very happy with Resident Evil 4. Street Fighter looked a lot of fun. I'm convinced that the people who are making Street Fighter don't know why people like Street Fighter, but I'm here for it either
why
way.
is it open world?
Yeah,
Why?
like
Like,
why is it that?
it's so weird. Like, just watching it, like,
You
just
go up
seeing.
and start fights with people.
I assume
Yeah,
it's
that's
still a
never
2D
been.
fighter, so it's not even like
Yeah, it's not what people come to Street Fighter for.
no.
It'll be what it is, and
It'll
then
just be its online thing, right? Because they'll just still do their
yeah.
tournaments.
I mean, after how badly they messed up the last one and how long it took them to fix it, I'm amazed that they're trying to do anything different after the fan base so vocally told them no
Yeah,
with the last one. But
Capcom don't listen.
and then all Final Fantasy 16 had to do was just give me a logo, and I was happy. I'll buy that on day one. But then they gave me all the shit in the world, and it looked like I was having a seizure with all the lights and explosions of rainbows on the screens, and I was just a very happy boy.
how many times can it be the Final Fantasy?
Babe,
It's a good
we haven't got
question.
time to go into that.
It is a good
Like,
question.
we haven't got time to go into why you're my living memory. We haven't got time to go into why six technically means something different to two, and oh no, it's
Like I know
They're
why
all
it's called Final
connected.
Fantasy, and like that was their last ditch
nah,
effort
they're not
as a
all.
studio.
Yeah, thank you. But
Are they not all connected?
no, not all of them. Some of
So
them play into another, but no, not all. No, they're not.
okay, yeah, because I thought they had to be anthologies because I love I love what's it called? Fucking 15 because it's just a boy band era of Final
Yeah,
Fantasy. It's funny.
that's why it's one of the worst Final
It's
Fantasies.
so fun.
No, that's bad.
It's so
16 looks good
funny.
because it's gone back in the other way. We've gone back to the Renaissance.
Which is the one of the person laughing on the beach.
That's
Kingdom
10.
Hearts, isn't it?
That's yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. That's 10, which you should play 10-2 because there's like it just turns into a full-on karaoke game. It's brilliant. Which I can't explain why, but it's beautiful.
When I first saw that beach scene and like the laughing, I thought it was from a Kingdom Hearts game.
It may as well have been. No, so at
Yeah.
that point they were like running on the same wavelength. There was no differentiating the two. Kingdom Hearts and bad Kingdom Hearts and bad Final Fantasy were the same thing.
I don't understand these things.
They're all just. They
I
feel.
don't understand why I choose to put myself through. I don't understand how I got here, but this is the life that I have, Jacob. All I can suggest is that you look the other way. Don't look at it too hard. Then maybe you'll be spared.
I just see like the amount of time that needs to be dedicated to these things.
So
I'm like,
long.
I could play 5 or 6 games in that time.
It's honest to God the only reason I haven't finished Red Dead 2. 150
Okay, that I will
hours to
defend.
finish.
And then you're not even finished. You've got to do all the after bit, haven't you?
Yeah. I genuinely don't know if that's one of the best games I've ever played or if I just have Stockholm Syndrome.
I think it's not
I'm
Stockholm
like,
Syndrome.
I put in
think
too much
Stockholm
time
Syndrome.
with this. This has to be incredible. Because I think it's the best film I've ever played. Because the whole time, you're playing a film. You're just watching it happen. You're just holding X to do this. And then it then goes into a shooting gallery for a moment.
Mm.
I would argue there's more gameplay on the special features of the Shrek 2 DVD than there is in Red Dead 2.
You
Like,
argue
there's the
that?
whole American Idol thing. You can play a
Yes!
good old game.
Oh my
on
god,
there.
yes, I remember
Far,
that. It
far
was
away
beautiful.
Idol.
You can play
Yes.
poker in Red Dead 2, so
I did
Yeah.
spend a lot of time on that and the fishing mini game and everything. But yeah, I don't know.
Fishing mini games, like, oh, beautiful.
we rank
The
them
sole
top
reason
10.
I'm still playing Kirby. I've done what I need to in Kirby, but I'm just still playing the fishing mini game.
I really want to play Kirby. I need to get to that.
I'll let you steal mine at some point because you need to experience it.
I need more reasons to play my Switch because it just kind of collects dust.
Yeah, I mean, get
Oh.
a direct in a couple of months, or hopefully this month.
Do you have anything else you want to say on Say It Play or no?
No.
I didn't watch the whole thing because I was working. Is it worth going back and watching the whole presentation for like things, or is it just I've seen most of the announcements now?
If you've seen all the announcements, it doesn't matter. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any reason to watch them back if you've
Because
seen what
like I
happened.
always watch the Xbox ones because as a very happy and satisfied Gamepass subscriber, I just know there's going to be like a madman that's like, and we're releasing this now.
Yeah.
Enjoy, download it.
If they do
And
that with
so-
Starfield, that would be fucking insane.
Haven't they already
Mhm.
announced that start of next year?
It's this year.
No, I
No,
swear
they
they
got
delayed
delayed.
it to the start of next year.
Yeah, it got delayed. That and
That
Redfall.
and yeah,
Redfall.
I could have
Yeah,
sworn
so
it was at least
their end
the
of
end
the
of
year
this
for the
year.
Xbox is quite empty,
Yeah.
which is why I think that of course they'll see the drop off on Game Pass, but they'll win it
but
back.
I think it always works better delaying the games
Yeah.
because it's just like it would be so difficult to recover from that of like your big game being like so broken. And I
Yeah.
know like Bethesda games aren't famous for shipping in like stable
Yeah.
states. But
Microsoft
because
needs to make that purchase worthwhile. Like, They can't
Yeah.
have another game be released like that.
Because also, like, I'm used to playing games like a year or two after release, so they're normally then patched and they're pretty stable. But with Game Pass on day one, been playing more and more
Mm,
closer to the release, and it has been showing more of the like performance issues with stuff.
yeah.
But then again, I'm also a lot more forgiving on that because I'm still on like the base Xbox One for a lot of things. So like, still
I love that
powering through.
I love that you're making that machine carry on. That makes my day.
My little VCR. Yeah, when it's like a big like game where I'm like, okay, this is a graphical showcase, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play this on PC.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like with I played Control on the base Xbox One. You press pause, it freezes, and then it takes about 20 seconds until the pause menu comes up, and then when you resume, the sound and everything plays again. So you're still like, if you're mid fight, then you're still in the fight, but it's still frozen. So you have to like be very aware of the space to then kind of imagine where you are, and then like 10 seconds later, it will show you what's actually happening. So big up the Xbox One.
Machine of the
Training and
future.
reaction times. Sick.
Yeah.
No, because it's like it's gonna be weird to see though, like how towards the end of the year, like because if there's no God of War, it'll kind of just be sort of Nintendo that owns the end of the year because there'll be Pokemon. I can't think of any big releases for the rest of the year other than Pokemon that are going to be like the big one that everyone invests in, unless if God of War comes out. Like, I think
It'll
we haven't had it, but we've had the
It'll-
best bits of the year so far.
just be Pokemon. Pokemon looks good.
Yeah, I was very happy with that new trailer.
I'm happy that it's open world. I'm happy it took what Arceus was doing and went, oh yeah, let's just make the wild area Pokemon. But I hate that they kept the turn-based combat like they did from the normal game, because fuck turn-based combat.
Oh, I love big old turn-based combat. It's my
Why?
childhood.
It's actually just bad.
Oh, we're not going to get into that because we haven't got about 3 hours it'll take for me to even try and convince you. I'll
Turn-based
probably fail.
That would
combat.
be a whole episode in itself.
The
Yeah,
problem with
literally.
turn-based combat is that you will set in it's a rock paper scissors thing where you'll set it and then you have to hope that you get it right.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
it.
immediate.
It's not a
It's going to
tactic.
work.
That's not tactical. That's just, oh, let me click that. And then because the games are easier now because they don't trust kids to have an attention span past if they lose, it'll just be like, press tackle. Oh, I won.
Turn-based combat is good. You're just playing bad turn-based combat games.
Well, Pokemon for the past
Yeah.
several thousand years.
Yeah.
How long do you think it will be until Pokemon is introduced in the metaverse?
Never. They'll announce the Pokeverse before Metaverse even gets its hands on it.
Metaverses count. It depends how widely adopted it becomes, which it won't be.
Yeah. Nintendo would announce their own one before they even give like scent of it.
What, Metopia?
Yeah, bring that would do. Metopia would be fine. That would beat the Metaverse in an
Just
afternoon.
bring back that fucking forum and then it'll just die again.
Tell me how many people wouldn't like just love to have their their Mii avatar brought back from their dead Wii. That's your persona on the internet now for life. I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't know. Pokemon looks alright. I am actually excited for it, but like it's just depressing that they kept some of the problems that Pokemon has because they think that's a fun staple.
Well, I mean, we can play this one together, Michelle. It's 4-player co-op. We
Oh
can play that
yeah,
one.
that's cool. That's
can have some
about
fun with
all
that.
they've got. Like
You don't
I
sound
just
too convinced, Michelle.
I like I like playing a
I
multiplayer
can't tell if
game.
it's because Michelle hates Pokemon or she just doesn't want to play a game with me.
Bit of both. No, it's because I think the issue is Nintendo has shit fucking netcode anyway, so
Yeah.
it won't work as well as anyone wants it to work. But
Mario Maker 2, trying to do that online. Holy shit.
awful.
That hurt my soul.
It's even worse. It's like genuinely dreadful in Animal Crossing, and it's doing nothing in Animal
Yeah.
Crossing. It's so
The Soul game I can understand it for is something like Smash. And
yeah,
then,
and even then it doesn't work unless you got a fucking LAN cable that they had to add an adapter for you to use.
yeah.
It's
Get it together,
so
Nintendo. Get it
shit.
together.
So like that's a cool thing they added that won't work, and then it looks like they sort of have gone with a weird The story direction looks weird. It looks like they aren't doing gym badges and stuff anymore, which
I'm happy with.
I'm okay with. I don't know how it's gonna work unless they do what Arceus does, where it is like catch them all.
Well, Sun and Moon didn't have gym battles. They had like the island tribe challenges where like, you would go and do things like that, and that
But
was
you
a
start to
fun.
fight a boss at the end, didn't you?
Yes, you still had to fight a boss at the end, but it was still like
So it was essentially just a
different
gym
enough.
battle, but it was just like a bit more of a puzzler.
But I mean, the professors are hot.
Yeah, there are two different ones now.
I was very happy with that. They both there was fan art up immediately of them. That was just my afternoon sorted.
And then
Just like, yep.
the legendaries look insane.
Yeah, very happy with how they look. They look amazing. It was like Space Boy and Rock Lad. I was very happy with these. But
It's
the
robot boy.
the female professor has got like sharp teeth as well. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm
Bit
gonna
of
have to go for
vampire.
her.
Bit of
That's
a
the one I'm
vampire.
gonna have to go for.
Well, okay. So the first one, like the past one, looks cool. Like it kind of gives me Entei vibes, but
Yeah,
the future one, where it just has fucking rocket boosters, is
yeah.
ridiculous. Like genuinely so ridiculous. Why? Like the whole point of like the first Pokemon movie was to show how machines shouldn't interfere with Pokemon, and then
And then we just kept on doing it
we
anyway.
just kept doing it, and now this is what we've got. We've added a rocket booster to a Pokemon, called it a
going there.
legendary. Also,
What it should
they're,
always
sup-
have been.
they're supposed to be motorcycles, I guess, because that's why they have a big tire as like a neck.
Oh, yes, didn't think about that. No, that's triple my excitement for it now.
No, it's over designed. It's what fucking
No,
Pokemon's
love it.
doing. Is they're over designing every Pokemon. That's why
That's
they
the
don't
gimmick,
look.
motorbikes. That's the gimmick. I don't want big, small Pikachu. I just want motorbikes. I want Pikachu
They
to turn into a motorbike.
they just don't look good anymore. Like the reason I really liked old Pokemon designs and like the reason we all fond of them is because I can draw a Squirtle. It's a turtle that's blue.
You can't tell me that Smoliv, that little crying olive, didn't look beautiful to you. That you can't tell me that didn't touch your heart.
They've already
I would
made
die
it.
for that thing.
Chunk.
The
Budu
chonk. I'd
Bid-
die for that pig.
Budu is exactly the exact same Pokemon.
Oh, but they've done that for every
They've just
gen.
made the
Can't
same
complain.
Pokemon again. They forgot they had a Pokemon.
They do that with all of them. They do that with all of them. Just remake them. I
And
feel
it's
sorry
gonna
for Jake being like the one guy who's not into Pokemon having to endure this.
it's gonna turn into a grass lady, and we all know it. And everyone's gonna say they want
Yeah.
to fuck it, and I will
Yes,
fucking
we
be
will.
right there with them. But I don't care. It's still really sad that they have to do the same thing over and over and over again. Just fucking use the same pool of Pokemon, make a nice fun game, do something interesting with it, and just like do Pokemon. Like Legends of Arceus did a fucking good fucking Pokemon game because it was interesting. You had to catch them all. The whole point of Pokemon, and it like actually felt new. This is like, oh, this is new, but here's the safety.
I finally know what English sounds like to non-English speakers.
Yeah.
Like to people who don't understand the language, I now know what English sounds like.
You're on
thank
the
you.
you're on the luckier side of reality, Jake. Like
Yeah.
not being one of us.
At least you don't care about Pokemon. Chart. It's so good to not.
When will Ryan Reynolds be added to the game? We need his Detective Pikachu back.
Didn't they make another Detective Pikachu game?
It's in development hell.
Nah.
It's meant to be announced any day now, apparently, like any day, but it's not.
Oh, it's like how
For the
Silksong doesn't exist.
3DS.
Silksong does exist. It's just that they're taking their sweet ass time with it
That's
and let
the
them.
biggest copium I've had all day.
But we've got one great game. We don't need another one. Just we can wait. We can
Well,
wait for another one.
I mean, I think that's it.
I got one more. I got one more. I had a tumultuous 12 hours last night. I barely slept because I was thinking about it all night. So the guy who writes Berserk, he tragically died last year. Kentaro Miura, absolute king, who for me was like a Da Vinci or a Shakespeare of his art, like perfection. And then they announced yesterday they're going to carry it on. His assistants and his like best mate are going to continue writing it, and I was just sort of like, no, in a perpetual state of just no. And then I thought, yes, let them try it. But I need someone to explain to me, or at least convince me that it's okay, because I don't know. I feel in such a perpetual state of just trapped of, I can't get over this. It's being done again, but then if I don't like it, I can just ignore it, and that's, my brain's not okay at the moment. End it there. Wrap it up. My brain's not okay.
Do we know the original creator's wishes on if he wanted it to continue or if?
The guy who is running it was his best mate, and he was the only person he ever told the ending to. And they were like, he never said like what would happen, but like they're just assuming that he would have liked for it to have ended. I'm just
Because I suppose this is a bit like when my boy Frankie Herbie died, who wrote Dune, Frank Herbert, and so I can't remember if it's his friend or brother, or there are still two people still writing Dune books.
I
Like
thought
the
it was his
Sons
son.
of Dune and stuff.
Wasn't it his son or something?
That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I guess it depends on their original wishes.
It was never like said. It was never said. Like they were all just acting off the assumption of he probably would have liked for this to happen, and people will probably enjoy it. But it's like I can't wrap my head around the idea of it. I'm so happy, but yet also so no, don't do this. And that upsets me.
It'd be weird if they brought in like a AI and they made him like Luke, where they was then like using CG and AI voices to make sure that it's the same but not quite the same, but then they don't want to challenge anyone or their audience.
Oh,
Imagine them ever doing that. Why would a company do that? You know?
Why would a company do that? I think that is the next step in AI because CG, because they're bringing like dead actors back and stuff. Yeah. I think one day there will be someone will put all of like Hitchcock's films into an algorithm, and we'll get a new Hitchcock film because there'll be like his consciousness uploaded into an AI.
Consciousness made out of his films. And it'll be extremely racist in some way, I'm sure.
There'll be like some sort of like one of the names will like give in, and like one of the estates will say like, oh, right, you can have Elvis, you can have Michael Jackson, and like then they'll start making it, and then the floodgates will just be open. Everyone will suddenly start saying yes, because it'll take off overnight.
I mean, Marvel's already got all the stuff for Stan Lee, don't they?
They aren't gonna do that though. I actually don't.
Oh no,
think
I'm not
they
saying
will.
they're gonna do that. But...
Yeah, I think
they will.
that's the only one.
I think they will.
I can see the higher ups at Disney wanting to do that. I don't think Kevin Feige will approve it, and he's got a lot of leverage now at Disney. So
we just need what Kanye did for Kim's birthday that time.
Oh, that's terrifying. That's so horrible. Oh, no.
Where she made her deceased father say that Kanye West was a genius.
It's terrifying. It's absolutely horrible. Like, oh no, I don't like the idea of it at all. Just like resurrecting someone for your own. Oh no, no, you've made my complete sadness about it feel even worse now, Jake. So thank you. My complete conflict and indecision has now just got a happy floating Jake face, just smiling above all this and thinking I've made your day worse.
Like,
that should be the motto for the podcast.
Yeah.
I've made your day worse.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.